Welcome to the weekend AMA. This is the where every week we take about an hour or so and answer your questions, and usually we'll start off with a topic or something of that nature. And today, or a question. I don't really have any questions, but I kind of wanted, to a degree, vent, as crazy as that sounds, because I've had some things happen in my life where I'm getting real sick of people not being prepared for technical interviews. And it really upsets me to quite a degree. And I was talking to some of my coworkers about this, and I can't really get into details or anything like that, but it goes back to this thing I say time and time again, that there is not a shortage of developers. There is a shortage of good developers. And I'm sick of interviewing the bad ones. I'm sick of people coming in for 20 years experience saying that they're a full stack dev. And then you ask them JavaScript questions and they say, I don't really do front end. What do you think full stack dev is? I'm sick of you coming in with 3 times the amount of experience I have and not being able to reverse a string. That's what I'm sick of. I'm sick of that. And guys, I want you to understand that this is the competition you're going against a lot of times. So can you solve algorithms on a whiteboard? Can you do FizzBuzz? Can you do these things? You're in the top 10%. I didn't believe it either. All right. I know I'm saying this to some of you guys and your minds are being blown, but you're in the top 10%. It's a strange world we live in. And I take it personally, dude. I know I shouldn't take it personally, but I do, because, I consider myself a professional. Like if we were to look down right here, I just did a video about, it hasn't come out yet, but about things I've done in the last year. This is just the book section, and I have 2 others that's not hard here. I work at this shit. At work, outside of work. I grind. And to get to where I am, I've had to work very hard, and I continue to have to work very hard. And so when people show up and have opportunities and they blow them because A, they don't take them seriously, or B, they just don't take the profession seriously, I take it personally, because I understand how hard it is to get a job. You just don't get 6-figure contracts for nothing, right? Just because you have work experience. How people have triple the amount of work experience I have and can't do FizzBuzz blows my mind. And it's disgusting, actually. I take it as if they're spitting in the profession's face. And it's upsetting to me. So I just wanted to make this blanket statement of prepare for your technical interviews. And another thing, don't lie on your resume. Don't lie on your resume. If you can't do C#, then you don't put C# on your resume. If you can't do JavaScript, then you don't do JavaScript on your resume. It's that simple. I'm not saying that you necessarily have to be a master of everything on your resume, but you got to be honest about it. If I was like, okay, you see, so you got front end experience, let me ask you some JavaScript questions. Well, I haven't. We all know that. Oh shit, I'm about to get called out on some stuff. So it's just, I don't know, man. I worked hard, and if you work hard, you can be very successful. And it upsets me when people come in and they can't do these things. It really upsets me when people lie on their resume also. But anyhow, guys, this isn't about me being frustrated with the state of developers, is what we'll call it. But it's more about you. So what questions can I answer for you this week? Just remember, man, you will, if you put the work in, you can be a very good developer and you can be very well compensated. Just 2.5, 3 years ago, I was essentially sleeping on the floor, renting a room. I'm looking at buying a 3,500 square foot house on Wednesday. It's that was built in 2015. It has a a mother-in-law suite on the side of it. So like if you put in some work, you can do very well for yourself and your life can change. And you're not just going to get paid because you have my girlfriend's out here being the hype man apparently. You're doing the bare minimum. But it's exactly what I'm saying to Peter is how crazy is it that because the demand is so high for developers, because the demand is so high for developers, the bar has been lowered so incredibly low that you can get $90,000 if you can just reverse a string. It's incredibly true. If you can reverse a string, someone's going to cut you a check to make more than the average family. The average family in the United States is around $53,000, $55,000. That's for a household. That's the average. You can spend 3 months at a boot camp, continue just mastering and getting better, and you could solve a simple whiteboard problem like reverse a string, fizz buzz, palindrome type stuff. Get 90K. But here's the thing. People they don't take it seriously, or they've been copying code off the web for so long that they don't understand how to think like a developer. They've just been going from project to project and changing things around and without actually breaking it out. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I can reverse a string. Like, I don't know, man. I guess what really upsets me is that, like, I know what an easy whiteboard problem is. I know what an intermediate one is. I know what a hard one is. And I've worked very hard to be able to solve those hard whiteboard problems. You know, I've solved them at Google. I've solved them at Amazon. I've solved them with Microsoft, and I've solved them with Facebook. Like, there's not, you know, and not to mention all the other big name companies that, you know, you never, you know, hear about. You know, Levi's is another one. A couple banks, I've solved these things so I know what to expect. And so when people can't solve the lowest end of the spectrum, where it's like if you were to go on any algorithm site, there's like 3 problems, right? You go on Code Signal, Free Code Camp. Like the first one's going to be like add A plus B. The second one's going to be reverse a string. Like, it's so ridiculous that the reverse a string one is something that people can't solve on a whiteboard. It's disrespectful. It's actively, you're disrespecting the profession. And I'm not talking about the guys who have 3 to 6 months experience. That's not what I'm talking about. I understand. But when you're going on 4 or 5 plus years in the industry, when you're a senior dev with 7 years experience and you can't solve something that I expect a 3 to 6 month intern to be able to solve, it's ridiculous. And that's why people are like, hey man, you know, I'm 45. Is people gonna take me seriously? Yes, it does. We don't care, man. Show up and do the algorithms. Have I ever seen a senior dev not be able to reverse a string? Pretty close. It's 100. Look, I know. Look here. I know it sounds out of this world. I really do. I get it, man. I get. I would like to think that most of you are in the same brain wave as me. Like you're putting the work in, you're grinding, you're trying to accomplish it. I'd like to think that. The problem is that the unfortunate truth is that 90% of people aren't. And when you show up and you can't do the low end, the beginning, again, beginning, intermediate, advanced, you can't do a beginning algorithm. You just can't write code. You can't think like a developer anymore. You know, It's so incredibly scary. But here's the good thing is I feel much more secure on the job market or in the job vicinity, and so should you. If you are in that top 10% who are actually developers and putting in the work, guess what? You can do a bunch of great things. Like, you are gonna kill it. You're gonna get to 6 figures in no time. You're going to get that fat check. You're gonna be in high demand, have multiple offers, because guess what? You're a 1 in 10 candidate, and that might even be a little bit too low. You might be a 5 out of 100, a 1 in 20 candidate. It's disgusting. Do I ever use the concept of closure? Very rarely. Sometimes I've used more anonymous functions than I've used closure before, and Korean functions and things like that. Is there a reason to tuck away globally scoped variables? Yes. So if something is globally scoped, it allows us to have access to that, and it means it allows the client to have access to it as well. So typically, you want to have as few globally scoped items as possible. The lower the scope, the lower the risk, the lower the mutability. So that is sort of why, not why closure exists, but that is one reason to do it, is that with closure, on that first function run, closure, meaning to query a function, is you're going to essentially set that variable, and there's no reason for it to be globally scoped now. It's just going to be scoped in that function scope, and now you can modify it. It's not that difficult to understand. You probably just haven't been sat down and sort of explained it yet. If you go and check out my JavaScript course, I have a closure example that I think is very simple to understand. So would I prefer a startup or large company? I prefer whatever company cuts the check. All right. Really, at the end of the day, man, I could work for a large company. I could work for a small company. I could work for a startup. I would want to just work in a good environment, and one where I could grow and advance my career. That's really what's important to me. Are boot camps worth it? Yeah, I think so. Speaking of boot camps, this isn't official. This is the unofficial, but you guys are the homies, and so I might hook you up with a little little something coming down the future. So one thing that I've wanted to do is, you know me, I always want to get better. That's the thing, and that's all. What's been so great for my career is just, hey, you know what? I think I'm just gonna put a little bit of time into getting better. So I'm in the process of buying a house. I'm hoping to put an offer in by the end of next week, and I reached out to the Dev Mountain, who I've who I've worked with, and they've sponsored the channel for like 2 years now. And I said, hey man, I kind of want to do your online quality assurance course. What do you think about that? You think I could work something out? And so right now we're working out the details, and I'm going to be spending the next it's a 10-week online program, not because I really necessarily have any interest in going into quality assurance, but the thing about being a good developer is you are a generalist, but you are also a specialist. And so the better I am at quality assurance, the better I am at my job, and the better I'm at front end, the better I'm at my job. So that's something that I'm going to be spending some time with, because some things carry over. And not only that, you can then help facilitate with the other, QA departments, because you understand it more. So that's something that will be coming down the pipeline a little bit later. We're still working out the details, but I'm fairly confident that we're going to get it done. About to give you a little something. I completed my web developer job. I started January. Haven't completed one project, not because I'm not doing finish me work, because my boss scraps projects, scraps the projects last minute. What should I do? I mean, it's not up to you if your boss scraps a project. I mean, that's not your issue, right? So that's just the name of the game. It's not because a lot of devs get cozy in their jobs. It's the equivalent of you saying, "Hey, I can't reverse a string because I'm cozy in my job." It's the equivalent of saying, "You know what? I forgot how to decrement a for loop and how strings work," and that's what we're talking about. Like, I forgot how the fundamental building blocks of programming work, which means I have a problem. I have a set of tools to solve them. That's logic blocks, control flow, variables, data types. I forgot how to actually go in the tool case, look at the tools, and see which one I need to put first. It's like, say you, so the tool analogy, say you needed a hammer and nail. It's the equivalent of taking a hammer and hitting it with the nail. Like, you forgot how things work together. That's what happens. And it's not that you forgot. It's just that you never got good enough to understand that you have a set of items at your disposal, and you need to figure out how to use those items to solve issues. You know, do companies care that you can reverse a string? No. What they care about is that given a problem, a very easy problem, you can think to a solution in a fast, easy manner. Go to CodeSignal to get better at algorithms. That's one solution. That's a great place to get started. If you're interested in getting better with algorithms, my 100 algorithm challenge that will help you get better and have those scenarios where, oh, I have a whiteboard problem. Oh, guess what? I killed the whiteboard problem. Here's the thing, guys. If you kill the whiteboard problems, you kill the technical algorithm problems, the next thing that comes is an offer. A good offer, because you are in the minority of people who are doing these things. So get better at it. And you can check out my course in the description below for just $10 if you're interested in getting better with it. I feel most companies rather hire a dev who here's the thing is, why would you hire a dev that can't solve a basic problem like FizzBuzz? Because they can't get the project done. They're gonna write bad, awful code. If you can't figure out how to mod a number by 3 or mod a number by 5 or mod them together, guess what? You don't understand the fundamental parts of code. And although you're hiring a dev that's probably been copying and pasting things off the internet for years and understands some things, he's going to be a bad developer. He's not going to be better a year later. When you hire a dev that you want to keep, they are, in theory, you want them to be a better developer a year later, and that's just not going to be the case. Anything special for the 50,000 coming up? No, I did say at 100K I would give away a couple 4K monitors though, so we're halfway there. How do I get a job with little commercial experience? You just keep getting better, interviewing and building projects. Side projects are really what did it for me. Why do companies ask things like segment trees in a job interview? Who can solve it in 5 minutes? So not every company is going to ask you how to do a binary search tree and stuff like that. But if you spend time learning that, then yes, you can go ahead and do that in 5 minutes or so. What are you going to do first when you get that new house? Get some furniture. I don't know. So a couple things actually. So one, if it's the house, if I'm able to get the house with the built-in mother-in-law suite, which essentially means that there's a door that connects a full apartment to a house and it has its own entrance, kitchen, bathroom, laundry, living area. So I'm going to rent that out. I'm going to either Airbnb it out first, or I'm going to rent it out completely and have that pay for a good portion of the mortgage. So that's going to be step one. Step two is April and I are going to get a dog. So we've been wanting to get a dog for a little bit. We're still figuring out what type of dog. Yeah, so we're still trying to figure out what type of dog, but she wants to get a poodle. I want to get a not a poodle. So we're still figuring that out, but when the time comes, we'll sit down and think a little bit more about it. But that's something that's going to happen. But for the most part, we're in about a 1,400 square foot apartment. We're going to get some furniture. Like at one point in time, I thought I might be moving to Portland or Seattle, so we sold some furniture, and that didn't happen. So we have to get some other furniture and stuff like that. But just get situated really. There's not going to be too much money, so I'm going to be clearing out my bank account although although I'm making more money than I've ever made, and signs are that it's going to keep going up, and I'm definitely living within my means. I am clearing out that sort of 6 to 12 month nest egg that I had. That if I had lost my job tomorrow, I'm good for 6 to 12 months easy. That's getting cleared out for the down payment. So there's going to be some. Let's rebuild that. Let's go do that stuff. So there's going to be that, and picking up a hobby outside of coding is something as well that I'm going to be focusing on. How long do you think it takes to be a good developer? It depends on how many hours you put into it. Everyone goes at a different rate. Compendium, exactly. Would you hire someone that couldn't reverse a string? Do developers deal with burnout given 8-hour workdays? Yes. I've talked with many coworkers who they're like, yo, man, I've been doing this 8-10 years. What do I do? Like, I don't know. It's not that I don't like writing code anymore, but it's just not what it used to be. And sometimes what happens is they go into management. Sometimes they make a completely different career change. Usually not, because their expertise is there and they want to get paid better. Usually, sometimes they start endeavors of their own. Sometimes they go and do BA, PM stuff. Sometimes they go in a different direction. Maybe they've been doing web dev for their whole career, and they say, look, DevOps is hiring. I know I don't have the expertise, but I've been here a couple of years, and I that I'm good enough to learn. Can I go to the DevOps team? Stuff like that happens all the time. So, burnout in the temporary can just be solved by trying to remember what made it fun for you. But in the long term, sometimes it's a career change. Sometimes it's going into management or a team lead sort of thing. So it all depends. Do I offer mentorship? Yes, I do. So I offer 1-hour mentoring. It's a little bit pricey. With my I've always charged 2.5 times my hourly work rate. So it's getting a little high there for most people. But if you're interested, you can message me. It's going to be, I haven't done the math, but somewhere between $120 and $130 for the hour now. I have to sit down and figure it out, but so probably about $125 if you want to sit down and do some mentoring, going over what your plan is and how we can get better from there. But I mean, that's sort of what these weekend AMAs are, because like I get it, man. It wasn't too long ago that I was delivering pizzas and at one pizza place, delivering pizzas at another pizza place, and putting in wine vineyards and doing construction, and then going to school and sleep on couches and still barely able to pay the bill. So like $125 an hour is a lot of money. So that's why I kind of do these things. But if you want that one-on-one sort of thing, you can. It just costs money, and I'm available for it, I suppose. See, Russ, I think where you're losing me here about like a lot of devs aren't going to have to work with algorithms. A lot of devs will have to be able to manipulate data, and so if you can't do something like FizzBuzz, you have forgot how to manipulate data, and you have never learned how to. These are things that you can't unlearn. It's sort of like seeing the world in a logical fashion. If you can't see that things are in a logical order, then of course you will. You never did, I guess. I don't know if I explained that the best way, but these aren't really things that you're going to... Like, can you get better? I'm not talking about hard or intermediate sort of things. Of course, if you've been practicing algorithms, you're going to do better. But if you're interviewing and you're not practicing algorithms, you're not taking your interview... Think of it this way. Just think of it purely this way. You can argue if you should be good at it or you shouldn't be. But the reality is that if you are good at the algorithms, you're going to be making yourself $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 more than if you weren't. So think of it that way, is I don't really care if you think you should be good. I don't really care if I think I should be good. But what I do know is that the people who pay well want you to be able to solve these things. And so if you don't put the time, effort, and energy into that, you are quite literally losing out on tens of thousands of dollars. The best offers I ever got, I turned down from a bank in Jacksonville, Florida, where they wanted to hire me, and they wanted to pay me $67 an hour, and they called an hour later and made the offer because I killed the interview. I killed the algorithm. The algorithm came up. 5 minutes later, I'm done. Is it because I really think that they care that I can go and find the most common characters in 2 strings and return it? No. What they care about is that in the 5 minutes that they gave me 25 minutes to solve something, I solved it better than every other candidate that was there. Do you see what I'm saying? So we can argue about whether or not you should be good, whether or not you shouldn't be good. The point I'm trying to make is that the people who are cutting the checks want you to be good. They want you to be able to have that ability. So when you are an employee and they are telling you as potential employers is, we want you to go and be able to do these things. And if you do, we will give you 6-figure contracts. We will give you maybe your first dev job to be making the money. Fine. But until you are the employer, it's much like the same equivalent of some employers care about you having a college degree and some don't, right? I don't have a college degree, and I understand that some employers want you to have that, and they won't interview you at all. Some companies, and I would say the larger ones that I've ever interviewed with that are paying real money, they want you to have that skill. So, hey, buddy. Come here. You want to say hi? Oh, fat cat. Say hi, Tito. Oh. Oh. But I mean, that's the thing. Portland cost of living is good. If you think the cost of living good in Portland, you should look up Tampa, man. So I'm living like a king in Tampa compared to what I'd be living like in Portland. Also the Portland. So Portland, and I know a little bit about the Portland job market because I was interviewing there for a little bit of time. The Portland job market is okay. There's not as much competition and not as many big jobs. So the big jobs that are there, they kind of know that they sort of have you. Really, Nike in general is sort of the big employer there. So they kind of know that you don't really have anywhere to go. It's kind of scary. Yeah. See, yeah, Catfall, he's like, I remember your room. It was just the room with the microwave in the background. Yes, man. And we're talking about 2.5 years ago, right? Yeah. Have I ever made a blog? I have not made a blog. I'm writing a book, but I used to be a staff writer at a data center, and I worked on a blog. All right, Jay Roster, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, no one wants to live in Jacksonville. So here's the thing. That offer in Jacksonville, I was thinking about taking it. And this is a while back, so this isn't recent, but I was thinking about taking it, and then I was like, oh, you know what? Let's drive to Jacksonville, Florida, and just see the area, because we had already known that if we're staying in Florida, we want to buy a house. That's the thing. So the next place, whatever happens next, we don't want to move around because we want to have. So anyhow, we go to Jacksonville, Florida. If you've never been to Jacksonville, Florida, guess what? You can keep that off your bucket list because there is nothing there. Absolutely nothing. And that was what killed it for us. I mean, that was really the thing at the end of the day where I turned down the best offer I ever got just because it was in Jacksonville, Florida. And to the more like CS out, like I'm talking about algorithm problems of like, hey, can you solve a problem? Can you write a function to solve a problem? Um, you know, and those types of problems are usually the ones you're going to be getting. But having interviewed on site with Microsoft in Seattle, half the questions I got was do a binary search tree, do binary search, do breadth first search. Those are the things that are important to them, right? John Dent says your 100 algorithm course literally was a lifesaver and helped me kill my technical interviews. 10 out of 10 worth. Thank you, man. If you could leave that on the, if you could review the course on the actual course, it'd be appreciated as well. That exact comment would be appreciated as the review. I remember the microwave days on Matt's channel before Engineer Truths went crazy. Matt's living his life, man. Matt's doing his thing, right? I think people's issues with Matt's channel is that Matt's channel for a very long time has been just education driven, and over the last year plus, he has transitioned his channel from education and talking about just about, because I want to say he's exhausted that, but he has really done all the videos I think he ever sought out to do in that department, and now his goal is to, why do you like when you think, like, this may not be true for everybody, it's true for me. Why do you go and get an education? Usually most people go to college so that they could get a good job and make good money and have a good life. And he's taken the approach of, let's just go to how do we get the money, the good job, and the good life. And people are much more understanding to going to college in that route, and he's taking a much more non-traditional route to do that. And I think some people are getting upset with it, and some people like it. I personally like it. I think more people need to be encouraged to take chances. I think that's kind of what he's doing. But I have had quite a few of you not been the biggest fans, but I love his new stuff, man. I want content creators to make content that's for them and no one else. So if you buy my course through the Udemy search engine, one, you don't get whatever discounts I have, and mine's just for $10. So usually, unless there's a sale bringing the course down less than that, it's a pretty good deal. And I get 50%. But if you buy it through my link with my coupon code of Coding God, which is always usually the same for everything, they get the 100 algorithms for just $9.99. I get 97%. So. Compendium, Dylan, I remember you talking about learning blockchain a few months ago. Did you ever get into researching and learning it? So I did take some courses on Udemy and sort of dived into it, but I never got deep. I started playing around with Vue, and I didn't go into it too much. So not really. Yeah, it's a strange thing now. Sort of like just because I wanted to, and I think I could have been very successful with it. I just didn't put the time it deserved. Do I miss living in Los Angeles or Long Beach? Not really. April and I are gonna go. Yeah, April and I are going to go back around Thanksgiving and visit family. Yeah, and also our favorite food places. So what I do miss is good food. Florida, and this is probably just being new to Florida as well, is I haven't found the food places that are like to die for quite yet. There's a few good ones here. Yeah. And also it's like the stuff that you grew up with and you've been eating for years and years and years. So it's one of those situations where that's probably what I miss most, but I don't miss it enough to let me put it this way. If I were to go back to California with the same money I make now, which for most people would be a very high income, my free money based off the increase of cost of living and taxes would be cut by 75%. Like I would just the cost of living alone. So like the house I'm looking at, that's 3,500 square feet. It's, granite countertops, nice flooring. It has a swim pool in the back with a nice covering. It's on a lake. It's 2 stories, mother-in-law suite, 4-bedroom, 3-bath house. It's 3,500 square feet, built in 2015. That's $275,000. In California, to get something like that, we're looking at $750,000, $1 million. It's a reasonable thing that I can afford on my own today and still be balling out of control. Like it's something reasonable that I can afford. So I would never, from just a very practical point, go back to LA. That doesn't even count the traffic. So traffic and cost of living were the 2 main reasons I wanted to get out of Los Angeles. So yeah, so it's like it's fun. It's kind of funny, but like yeah. Part of where my high school is in Redondo Beach, and I have friends who are in the real estate market in Redondo Beach and do very well, and I'm on their emails. And every once in a while, I'll get like an email for their business, and I just check it out to see the market. And I saw a house that was fully renovated, built in 1905. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 900 square foot house. And you're saying, Dylan, how much could that cost? How much could that possibly cost in Redondo Beach? Not on the water, but in a beach city, you're looking at $850,000. 800 and that's a deal. Like, it's a crazy world we live in. But yeah, man, who would want to live there? The homeless population is out of control in Los Angeles. And that's, I wish we could do something about that. Who can afford that? That's why I'm buying a house, man. It's just because eventually it will happen here. It'll have so LA is so like Southern California in general is super unaffordable, and prices are going up every year, no matter where you're at. So buy something, call it a day. And if it goes up for you, good. But no one. Here's the thing. Between YouTube money, between my salary and other investments and things like that, I make a good living, and that doesn't even count April when she'll start working. Who can buy? I can't buy that house, and I'm doing better than like 90% of the population. So who's buying these houses? You know who it is? People who bought a house 20, 30 years ago for $200K and $600K, they're buying that. And then they're just getting this tiny house to be a little bit closer to the water. And the only reason they have that is because they already had a house. And it's crazy. If you had to choose which certification you go for, Azure or AWS, I'd probably just go with Azure because I think it's more popular at this point in time, but I could be mistaken. I would just go with what's more popular and what's more popular in your area as well. What's April working in right now? She's unemployed, but we've actually been talking a little bit about what's next in her life, and she's going to be looking into getting going in data analytics and doing some master's programs and some Udacity type stuff. So. Why don't those 90% go into this job if they're struggling and job pays so well? It's the same reason that 90% of the devs suck. It's because it's hard, and to get good, you have to be consistent and continue to move forward. It's the same reason that 90%, they get their first job and they never improve after that. They just think the time that they're going to put in at that job is going to make them better. That's really it at the end of the day. So, you know, how many people are even comfortable using computers? I still, to this day, have a hard time. I can't say I'm a front-end engineer or front-end developer. I just say I'm a software engineer because people won't even know what it is. Like, and to say I build websites is an oversimplification, but it's not completely inaccurate. It's just an oversimplification of what I do. But a lot of people can't even use computers anymore. This is a true statement. More people can use a smartphone, but they can't actually use a computer like a traditional desktop or laptop. So when you're saying why doesn't the 90% go, and if they're struggling, get a job that pays better? One, because it takes effort and energy, and there's no guarantees, right? If I told you, look, man, if you spend the next 2 years every day spending 4 hours a day, 3 to 4 hours a day for the next 2 years, you're going to get a software engineering job. You're going to go and make good money. But you got to put the time in. How many people go and just look at a 3-month commitment to a boot camp and it's like, it ain't worth it. They don't guarantee you a job or anything. So it's just one of those situations, man. Not everybody wants to sit at a computer, write code, and not everyone can, and not everyone is willing to take the gamble. Getting the interview process for a software developer is probably the hardest out of any job on the market. I mean, think about that. I've interviewed for jobs that are non-technical. Usually you come in, you introduce yourself. They say, hey, Dylan, how you doing? Oh, I'm good, man. I'm so excited to be here. You're dressed sharp, and they ask you some questions. Why do you want to be here, Dylan? What do you know about our company, Dylan? How would you be good for this role, Dylan? Basic questions. What's a software engineering interview like? It's much harder. There's stages. There's 5 to 6 stages. It's, hey, let me talk with the recruiter and see if they think I'm right. See if I hit all the check marks they have. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2, we have a technical phone interview. Step 2, you go up and they say, hey, what do you know about these 10 topics? Let me convince you that I know about these 10 topics. Great. Okay, cool. Now I come in person. All right. Hey, we need you to solve these 3 algorithms on the board. Hopefully we like your solutions. Hopefully you don't choke in the process. And we're still asking the same questions every other thing comes. And by the way, we want to actually just see if you're a good fit for the team, because software development's a team thing. The interview process for a software developer is harder than almost any other job on the market. Oh, and by the way, we want you to do a take-home project that's going to take 4 to 8 hours for you to do for us to even consider hiring you. That's why people don't do it. It's the same reason that people aren't at that stage where they are going to put in the work, so that interview process, that long interview process, is a breeze. So but here's the thing, guys. You put up with that because those things that happen, that interview process that's horrible and much harder than pretty much any other job, you're going to make twice as much as your coworkers who are just interviewing. Do you have a degree? Yeah. Do we like you? Yeah. Good. F7 Devil with a $20 donation. Thank you, man. Says, thanks for what you do, Dylan. Really appreciate these these AMAs you do along with everyone else. Thank you. I appreciate that. that is $20 towards my house. It is really appreciated because your boy's about to be broke pretty soon. Thank you so much. But yeah, so it's I mean, just here's the thing. Like the whole, like, if 90% of people are broke, I don't want to say 90%, but the majority of the world is. So let me put it this way. I don't worry about money anymore. This sounds crazy, right? Like, money is a non-issue for me. Would I want more? Yes. Have I got more since I stopped worrying about money 2 years ago when I got my first dev job. Think of it that way. For 2 years, I've not been worrying about money, and my money in YouTube, my money in salary, all that. All right. I stopped worrying about money then. How many people worry about, all right, this is a check, I pay rent, and then I can spend $50 on some ramen, and like, that's a real thing, right? You have to, look, I got to remember I got to pay my electric bill. Yeah. I don't have it set up on auto pay because I need to pay it at intervals when the time is right. Like, these are real things that a lot of people go through. And in my case, like, I don't have to worry about money anymore. And it's a strange place to be in, because it's not that money doesn't mean anything. It's just I don't have to think about it. And a lot of people, I would like to think I would say that 100% of people would like not to have to think about money. But the reality of the situation is, I would also like six-pack abs here. I know what I have to do to get six-pack abs. I have to change my diet. I have to work out. Some of you are in college and you want straight A's, but you don't have them. Is it because you don't know what to do to get straight A's? Of course you do. You have to put in the time, the effort, the energy. You have to study. You have to go to meetups. You have to do this and that, and you could get there. The information on how to be successful is out there, and it's free, and you have people who have done it and will tell you the secrets, and you don't have to pay a dime for it. So it's not that you can't do it or you don't know what's there. It's that you don't put in the time, effort, or energy because it's hard. And that's a fair thing. I'm not saying that it's not. I would love nothing more than to lose my gut, but I haven't made that mental commitment to completely eliminate it yet. And it's a commitment that I have to meet. It just so happens that when it comes to being a developer, I'm as committed as I can be. And it's more so than the average person. So when you say those 90% of people, why don't they just go and become developers? Why don't they go do that? Because most time it's because they're not committed. It's not committed to whatever. And the idea of like, I told my brother, I'll give you an example of my brother. My brother's just got back from traveling the world for the last 2 years or so, and he's trying to figure out what he wants to do with his life. I've offered for him to come live with me rent-free, and I will go to a coding boot camp and do this, and I will tutor you. I charge $125 an hour for tutoring. I will tutor you for free, because we're family, right? And I can help you get that. I can help you get that junior dev job. I can help you get your foot in the door. Hell, maybe even at my company if you ramp up real quick. But that's just not something he wants to do. It's not for everybody. Do I think it's crazy that he doesn't want to do it? Absolutely. It's crazy to me that, hey man, why don't you give it a shot, see if you like it? And it's one of the best careers you can go into. And here I will be to help you along. And it's just one of those things. It's not for everybody, and not everyone likes some people want guarantees in life. Can I guarantee, like, hey, 6 months from now, I guarantee you're going to have a job? Of course I can't. But I can say that if you work hard and you put in the hours, you're going to be setting yourself up for success. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, man. So, it's Tinker. It's just one of those things, man, where, yeah, all you guys are my brother from another mother. Me calling up my dad's like, Dad, we got to talk, man. Apparently, you were slanging some dick in the last 20 years or so when you were traveling a little bit. And, Am I flying first class? No, man, because I don't waste my money. I did. So here's the thing. Like, let me put it in perspective for you guys, right? When it comes to getting out of the very quick way to going back to worrying about your money is when you start spending money on stupid shit. All right. My car, brand new, is $13,000 paid off. I could go and get leased. I could go and get signed today for a $100,000 car if I wanted. I have no car payment. My insurance is low because I have a 2015 Mitsubishi Mirage. It's probably worth like $6-7 grand right now. So if I wanted to, I could go get leased for a $100,000 car and start putting myself in a situation where I might have to start checking my bills again and making sure that the money is coming out on the 5th, the 7th, and like the 16th, instead of just having auto pay set up, and start worrying about that. And you're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to start flying first class and paying 2-3 times it when I fly back because a little bit of extra leg room so that I can feel better about myself or just have my knees not hurt as much for another $1,200. $1,200 is a lot of money. And it's enough money that when you start, I guess what I'm trying to say is when you start, this shirt was free. These pants are from Costco. Like, I could go and start buying $100 shirts or $30 shirts, $50 shirts. But if you want to make good financial decisions, you need to not fully upgrade your life, right? So in that case with the flying, you know what I did do? I didn't have a layover. That's what I did. Oh, I have a little bit of extra money. You know what? Let's not have a layover. $100 for April and I not to have a 2-hour layover. There we go. Yeah. So that's the thing is people. So say you got a $10,000 raise. This is turning into a very money-focused thing. That's okay. Most people don't like talking about money. I'm happy to talk about money with you because I think the more we educate ourselves with money, the better you're going to start making financial decisions. And great. So most people, when they get a $10,000 raise, you know what happens? They up their cost of living $10,000. They say, you know what? This 1-bedroom apartment, baby, we are going to get that 2-bedroom apartment. We're just going to knock $5K off the top a year. $6K off the top a year. And they start, I'm going to start eating out more. I'm going to start doing all this sort of stuff. So people need to be aware of this, is that when you get, you know what would have been better for you when you got that $10,000 stuff? You go, how can I pay my debts down? How can I make sure that I start earning interest instead of paying interest? That's what you need to do. Unfortunately, a lot of people instead just like, yo, man, we are balling up in this bitch. And they start buying shit they don't need on credit. Oh my God. Don't get me started on crypto, man. Every time I look on Coinbase, I go on suicide watch when I see that crypto stuff. It's rough out there in the crypto market, son. Can't even look at it anymore. Put on BitConnect. How to get a mentor? I mean, you go to meetups, you meet people. You don't specifically seek out mentors, but you start just getting involved, and you have to get going. Is my course for beginners? I think so. I think, I mean, there are some harder questions and whatnot, but the way that it's designed is I break the problem down for you and I tell you what it is, and you try to solve it on your own, but if you can't, I have a solution there to help you. So yeah, it's a strange world we live in though, man. And I don't know how to make people. Yeah. AK-47, were you the one who told me that you went all in on crypto like a year ago? I forget one of the subs was like, yo, man, I was like, hey, don't be throwing everything. You know, it's crazy. Like I invest in, you know, I speculate in cryptos as well, but just throw a little bit of money. You're like, nah, dude, I cashed out everything and I'm going all in. So, you know, moderation is key to a lot of things in life. The key to investing? What's the key to investing, baby? Oh yeah. She's saying that, you know, when you invest, you have to understand that you're playing the long-term game. So you have to kind of think of that as lost money. Whatever comes back is great. Whatever doesn't, all right. But it's kind of like the same thing as gambling is you have to understand that that money is no longer there. What is Bitcoin at right now? Let's see. Last time I checked, it was in the 6.5 range. Bitcoin's at 6.7. What hobby am I going to take up? I think the hobby I'm going to take up is my house. So when I buy a house and investing, so like right now I haven't been investing because all my money is just going into a pool to buy a house and down payment, all that sort of crap. So that's going to be my hobby in the next near future. I'm going to start looking into investing and not in crypto, but investing and going from there. Joshua Ruff, good for you, man. Joshua went from never writing a line of code in February 2018 to having a full-time job to today, to the present. I don't know if maybe that's since he started working, but yeah. Yeah, hopefully it'll go back up, but if not, I'm not worried about it. All right, guys, I have to get some stuff together so that I can go and buy this house on Wednesday. Vic or Gaethje? I'm going with Michael Vick, man. I agree with Michael Vick, even though I kind of find the guy annoying. I think people have been avoiding him because he's a tall, lengthy guy. I think he's going to dismantle Gaethje. But I could be wrong. But I think Vic's gonna knock him out. So I think he's gonna keep him at. I think he's gonna keep him at distance, and I think you're gonna be seeing like some high knee to the chin if Gaethje gets in, and it might lay him out. So we'll see though. It's gonna be a good fight. I'll make when I buy a house, I'll make a house tour video for you guys. Hopefully, it'll motivate you to get your shit together a little bit. It motivates me anyhow. Do you think? Last question. Do you think the so-called work-life balance is a myth? No. I think there's some companies that will abuse you, take advantage of you, and make work your life. And I think there's some companies that understand that it's not. So that's what I think. And I think when you hit those companies, you get the experience, you can get out and go get. And usually those companies pay worse also. So something to keep up. I'll see you guys later. Bye.